We live? Nice. I don't see us live on YouTube, but I'll assume it to be true. Hey, there's that delay. All right. I cannot hear you, Jeroen. It's not a Wooting stream without some jank, right? Hey.
Oh, I see.
Hey, now I can hear you.
Yeah, I had to. Well, this is probably pretty loud. I had to disable the mic to for the intro screen. Okay, well, it's the Jank Show.
Okay. If it's now running smoothly, that might be the fastest from jank to operational that we've ever gone. So
that's why we have you,
better.
The operations manager.
No, that's why we have Sonder to get everything set up right the first time.
That's true. That's true. So should we do like let's do a quick audio video check? Can everybody hear us all right? Anybody too loud or too soft? How's the music? Let me just check.
Rocking and rolling to some lo-fi beats.
No, this is
and Mark jinxed it. Yeah, sorry, Tony.
This is education, slow motion, and landscape. Wait, what? This doesn't make any sense. Landscape. Let's do landscape. Actually, this is kind of nice. We'll do this.
I've got a Minecraft-inspired playlist on my Spotify that's like 48 hours of just Minecraft-esque adventuring music. It's pretty nice.
Can you do you need to do royalty-free music on YouTube? I know with Twitch you can just do whatever you want, right?
Probably, yeah. I'd assume so.
But with YouTube, so can with YouTube, can you also play like, let's say, normal music?
Probably not. They want their cut.
Yeah, that's true. Mic upgrades for Mark. Yeah, I've had this one for a while. I mean,
I got a mic upgrade. My headset died on me. Is what happened. At a very inopportune moment, as it always does, and so I had to very rapidly get something new. And actually, this is Saunders' old mic, so yeah, shipped it to me.
Thanks, Saunders. This one sounds really good.
I hope so. It looks expensive. I have no idea what it cost. It cost me the shipping price. So.
Well, okay, good. This one was, I think, €40, including stand.
Okay.
It's pretty good value. Pretty nice Amazon mic. All right. So how's everybody doing?
All right. So
you go for it.
Let us know in the chat that you're having fun, that you've seen the Discord announcement and the Twitter post of the poll about the ADHE. We will get into that at some point in the near future. Yep. Also, welcome you guys to ask any questions that you may have. We've got at least someone from the Wooting team that is in the chat. We got Big Brain AFK. That's Tony. We'll probably answer a couple of things here and there, and I imagine that we probably have some other of the Wooting team lurking. This is, of course, also how we communicate internally our updates and changes. So, for better or for worse. Yep.
Yeah. We're making a mouse. No, we're not. We're not.
Well, you're playing a dangerous game, because now that small chunk is going to get clipped. It's going to get shared everywhere, and it's going to go viral. And that will just drive sales, so good work.
Yeah, if we want to go viral, we should just shift the arrow keys back.
Nice. How to outrage your audience 101.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so what are we talking about today?
All right, well, we're going to talk about the ADHE update a little bit. Unfortunately for our audience, the two of us, Jeroen and I, are not really the folks who are spending the most time with the ADHE, at least not on the physical product. Jeroen is spending more time on the hardware internals, but those details are still top secret, so we can't share much about that quite yet. But we'll review what has been posted on YouTube for the case options, and maybe also a little bit of kind of what our philosophy is behind what colors we can and can't offer, and how we want to go about that, and some of the details on. So we're making this this push towards sustainability and that sort of thing. We'll talk about that a little bit, and then on my list here, I've got some operational updates. So that is my role, operations. So we're going to talk a little bit about the 60HE Plus transition. We'll talk about what went well, what didn't go well. In general, it did go pretty smoothly, but we'll get into the weeds of that. We'll talk a little bit about what people can expect for their 60HEs pluses on the upcoming batches, when those are expected to arrive, and those all those nitty-gritty details for folks that are still waiting for a keyboard.
Oh.
And then we'll continue on with some details and updates on the status of our customer service. That is also in my domain, and so I'm well equipped to comment on where we're at with that, the challenges that we face, the things that do go well, the things that don't go so well, and then we're gonna have a specific short little conversation on payment verifications and what that's all about, and why are people being asked for this, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty details on the end of that.
All right.
And then. Of course, during the stream, you are always welcome to ask any questions that you've got. Some of those will get answered in text. Some of those, I've got the chat here up on my screen, and so we'll be able to pull some of those questions out and answer them on stream. Then hopefully keep this to about within an hour or so. That is our plan, but usually within that plan, it takes a little bit longer than expected. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
All right. Just want to start off with saying Happy New Year to everybody who's celebrating Lunar New Year this weekend. Mm-hmm. And it's Lunar New Year because people say Chinese New Year, but that's not right. It's Lunar New Year because Vietnamese also celebrate.
It's Chinese New Year if you're in China.
That's true.
It's Lunar New Year everywhere else.
Yeah. So any Vietnamese that happen to be watching, chúc mừng năm mới. Maybe for the one Vietnamese person in there.
I'm not even going to try.
No, but we'll actually talk about that later, right? I think we should just talk about the ADHD first because that was the announcement dropped.
That's what so many people are excited about, and
Oh.
Yes, right about an hour ago. We got there's a thread on Discord now in the announcements channel, and that thread has already 720 messages of people sharing their opinions.
I saw that, yeah.
And sometimes commenting on the opinions of others. And it's maybe not the best way to go about it, but as long as we can all stay nice and civil and polite with respect to each other's opinions, that's important. But I have seen Calder post a couple of things in there, so who knows what fun, exciting details he will be.
Calder will just start a live stream on Discord right now.
The battle of the live streams. Let's go.
Yeah. Hey, let's go. We found one.
Indeed. So you wanna talk about what this update was for those who maybe haven't yet seen the video? Just a quick review of the information that was shared this time.
I have not seen the video, but I
maybe I should do that then because I have seen the video.
Okay, maybe you're better suited to talk about like what happened in the video. In
a new ruin that he has found.
Yes.
I don't know where he finds these places, but it is quite thematic. And we're talking specifically about the materials being used for the ADHE, and in this case, talking about the case primarily. And the big question that we have and that we've posed to you via Twitter, or excuse me, X-Twitter now, Discord, and here on stream as well, is what are your preferences for what do you want to see out of case colors and case materials? So we'll start talking about materials, because that is probably the most interesting aspect of what we're looking to achieve here. And we are using post-consumer recycled plastics for the ABS plastic case. And our intention is to have 85% PCR plastic. And so what exactly does that mean, post-consumer recycles? That means that somewhere previously that the plastic being used for the keyboard was a water bottle, or was a children's toy, or was a something that maybe like a wrapper for some food, candies or something, but it has been used previously, was brought to a recycling center, and has been processed, and is now being reintegrated as 85% of what a new plastic is being created. So our intention with that is to take some steps towards improving the sustainability of our products. We recognize that keyboards are very much so a plastic product, and when you make plastics, especially when you create plastics in a country so as China that has very much of their energy being produced by coal, and these are getting melted plastics to be formed, it is a very environmentally unfriendly process, and we're cognizant of that. We're aware of that. There's only limited, perhaps, things that we can do to address that, but we are very interested in exploring what those options are. And so one of those is using recycled materials. Another one of the things that we can do is looking at how we're transporting products across the world. So a quick little aside here, we typically, for all of our international shipments that don't go to the United States, we send everything to the Netherlands, and then a huge chunk of those keyboards get sent right on back to Asia. So that is wildly inefficient from a transport perspective. But, those cargo ships, they're big, but and they're efficient, but they still take a whole lot of fuel. So that is an opportunity that we can take further steps towards. So we're working on a fulfillment center in Hong Kong that can send our products from China to Hong Kong, and then from there to the rest of Asia, and that dramatically reduces how much of a globetrotter these keyboards are. And so we're using post-consumer recycled plastic for the ADHE. We're pretty confident that there's going to be no concessions made on durability or performance of that plastic.
Oh, and color as well. Like you can
And
even
color.
do translucent, like with the I think it was option C that was posted.
Yes, the smoky gray. But, I think that's my favorite. It's a unique colorway, and
Yeah.
I guess with that color, there's a split in how that's being perceived by the community. Because part of the community is like clear plastic; it just looks cheap. It looks like crap.
Yeah.
And then part of the community
like
is
Walmart.
like, man, this brings me back to the Game Boy days when
Nintendo
you could
64, yeah.
you could look into your controller and see the electronic components, and
Yeah.
that's the mentality that I have. I think it looks cool, and I've seen it in the flesh as well. Not the smoky gray, but the clear version of it.
I actually have it right here.
Do you really?
Yeah,
When the RGB goes, oh man, does it go! It's
very nice.
It's a rave on your desk.
Yeah, I like it a lot, but then it doesn't seem to be getting as much love as we expected. But I guess black is just the safe option, right? Or the stealth version is what they call it.
Yeah, now that's not at all a surprise that people are looking for. You said it yourself. Safe is the best way to describe that. That it matches everything.
Yeah.
And practically all electronics come as standard in black, and that's
Yeah. Is there a difference between the Twitter results and the Discord results? No, it's pretty leaning kind of the same way. Twitter seems to like the translucent a little bit more.
Okay.
Wait, there's a translucent white.
it's pretty much even on Discord. 514 for the black with speckles. 578 for the translucent.
Yeah.
And then an overwhelming 2084 for just the plain straight black.
Yeah.
Just black, professional black, whatever you want to call it.
Black. That's nice. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, what's kind of a shame is also what people say is like, but I do really like the translucent. Can we still get that one? It's like, that's really hard. Because also
that's
like,
a tough question. Yeah.
Yeah, because also I saw some questions about whether come ISO Spanish or with or without keycaps. Now I can't say that we'll do a version with. For ANSI, we'll do pre-install with keycaps, but also bare bones, which is without keycaps, without switches. And for ISO, we'll do bare bones, I think, but also with switches pre-installed, and you can select your keycap separately, including Spanish. So ISO Spanish is supported, just to get that in there. But point I wanted to make is that these are already 4 different variations in a way in the SKUs, And then there's Japanese as well. We're going to do Japanese layout. And yeah, every color is basically a multiplier, where it's like, okay, you have 5 different variants times 2. You add another, it's times 3. So you don't add one thing, you add 5 things usually. Or you need to say, well, we only do ANSI and translucent, but that's also a little bit lame, right? Where it's like, okay, yeah. So that's always kind of a struggle with colors, where it's like, okay, it's always multiplied by however many variations you have.
Yeah, and so there's a couple strategies to address that, but one of the most effective strategies is to offer, like we do with the 60HE Plus, the module option, where it does not come with a case at all.
Yep.
And then you have your choice of case.
Right.
Well, but the trouble with that, and there has not been a decision yet fully confirmed internally whether or not we are going to do that. So, just take this as conversation about the topic, not a yes or a no. But the difficulty with that is that then you have to create a new product for just the case version, and then that adds to the fulfillment costs. So one, you have to stock this as a new product. You have to create packaging for this product to have it housed separately, because it can't go in the package with the keyboard. And then from a fulfillment side, we're going to be paying for warehouse space for that. Now, thankfully, our keyboards don't have to be refrigerated or frozen, so that it makes it a lot cheaper for warehousing. But that cost is not null. And then the way that third-party fulfillment works is every item that gets added to an order gets picked, and you pay a price per pick. And sometimes, like for our U.S. fulfillment center, the order comes with up to 3 picks per order before you get charged for extra. But then at the Dutch fulfillment center, that's not the way that they price it, and so it's on a per pick basis. And so that adds costs operationally.
Yeah.
So, is that an option for us? That's certainly something that we're looking at if we want to go that route. But whether or not we do is still a little bit up in the air. And so one of the things that we really want to know from these types of polls on Discord and the communication that we have on Twitter and the YouTube comments and in these live streams is how much interest is there really for this as either a pre-built version or a separate product? And what options do we have available for us?
It's I was kind of shocked. When we were talking, I was kind of taking a look at the topics you listed, just to kind of keep the conversation on track. And I was just going into Discover. I didn't really think about it. And it literally says, oh, we love options, but they're more costly for the business. That's literally what you wrote down. I had no idea.
Nope. I had my notes ready.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, I didn't know you could look into the future already. But then I was just thinking, like, in a way, a vote for A or B is a vote against translucent, right? So actually the odds are stacked a bit more against the translucent, sadly enough, because you could say, well, if you pick stealth with it says speckles. I saw somebody in chat calling it glitter. I do like that, even though we probably can't use it because it doesn't actually glitter. But I also saw somebody mention that maybe the result would have been different if we had the pictures with RGB, because that's also where the translucent kind of shines, right? Literally, yeah.
That's a good question. And on the subject of how questions are asked on Discord and on Twitter, that does have a pretty major impact on how people perceive the question and then react to the question. So, for example, in the thread, I've seen a lot of people asking for an option D, that is the translucent without speckles.
Right.
We didn't have that available as an option. It's not to say that it's not possible, but it just wasn't presented as one of the A, Bs, or Cs. And so maybe that is having an impact as well, that if people don't like the speckles, then they're not going to go for either B or C. They're going to stick to A. And so that there's just there's a whole science dedicated to how questions are asked and how people react to those. And we are not marketing wizards in that sense. You can see it from our marketing activities. We rely very much so on word of mouth. So to that end, make sure to tell all of your friends about our keyboards. So we need that.
And tell them to vote for C.
Vote for C. Yeah, that's internally that's it's a favorite.
All right. And what about any other colors? Are there any colors in the works or?
Well, yeah, and in fact, there was a question about this. Does the team have any plans for a white version of the ADHE? And we do have plans. We have plans at least to investigate this as a potential option. So, one of the things that that is very important to us as Wooting is that we love the ability to mod keyboards and to customize keyboards. And the unfortunate reality with this form factor is that there isn't really a standard for this particular product. Now, certainly not the way that we've made our unique version of the ADHE, but also even just like call it the typical TKL layout doesn't have a standard associated to it. So some are a little, a couple millimeters bigger one way or another way. And so therefore there isn't a huge plethora of options for different case colors. So we kind of got to do it ourselves, right? And with that, our focus is for the more premium end of case options. And the way that we're addressing that is with zinc alloy. And I note that I'm saying alloy, not alloy, as the Dutch people say. It gets me every time.
It's a double L.
Bunch of pirates over here. Yeah, alloy. That's how that's pronounced. But hey, separate story. And so with that, it is a slightly more premium product. And so with that being the case, we can afford a little bit more in the customization of it and those operational costs that come with pick and pack. So a white case in the zinc alloy, that is certainly a possibility. We're definitely going to do black. Again, black is the safe option, and it looks pretty good. The samples that some folks internally have in their hands. Yep. Calder also has a white one that I believe he shared that in the video as well, a picture of that sample.
I saw something on Twitter, but it might be somewhere in the 730 messages. I'm not sure.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. There's somewhere around there. There's floating out. It does exist as a sample, and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah. There's a photo of. Well, this is actually the translucent, but then the white version, let's say, or whatever you want to call it. Oh, and there's also a question here about electroplating zinc alloy, and Calle did talk about Cerakote. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Cerakote?
Cerakote, that one.
That's the most American way possible.
Cerakote, yeah. And but that's for the zinc alloy case, and that's something I think we're still exploring. And I think we're just still kind of talking about the zinc alloy case later, because we're just not in a stage yet where we feel 100% comfortable to share about it, because there's still some things to figure out with that.
Yep. Yes, indeed. But that's one that is more likely to be a separate product, and if it is a separate product, then we can go ham with different options. Like for example, with the Alumaze, we've got well, I'd say 4, but actually we have 6 colors of the Alumaze. And maybe that's a little bit of a sneak peek. Is that we also have a white one and a pink one, and they are at the warehouse in the US. Or at the warehouse in the EU as well. We just need to get some product pictures made. And then those will be up on the storefront.
Did you already send them to Eric?
To a Wooting website near you? Yes, indeed. However, the order that I sent to Eric with those also includes the white and the pink wrist rests, and those have not arrived to the fulfillment center yet, or maybe they did today. They were supposed to show up today, so as soon as they do, then that order can get shipped to Eric, and he can make his product pictures, and then we can get them on the storefront. Okay. So 2 new colors of Alumaze. We'll sneak that in there.
Really good. Yeah.
Come into a store near you. And by near you, I mean on the internet, because we don't have storefronts.
Also only on Wooting.io.
Yes.
I saw somebody talk about that. I saw somebody post on Reddit about how they looked at the store, but then all of a sudden the price increased. And they were so surprised, like, why would they all of a sudden increase the price and blah, blah. And I was like, where were you looking? Because we haven't certainly not done that, and we also don't really sell it anywhere else. So I'm kind of wondering, like, what happened there?
I wonder if it's a cross-currency thing, that they were showing their native currency, and that there were some Forex movements that devalued it against the euro, and then therefore is being listed as a higher price. That does happen pretty quickly.
Yeah. Okay. So again, vote for your favorite color. Go to YouTube. Go to Discord. Well, you're on YouTube, so go to Discord or Twitter, and check it out. And check out Calder's video after this live stream, of course. And yeah, see where he's next. I mean, he's going all around the region. I didn't know Taiwan was that much like The Last of Us. I thought it was like still a living and breathing society, but then apparently there's a lot of places now. I think I'm pretty sure it's just, he said it was like a creative. I talked with him about it. He said like it was like a creative park nearby or something, and they have some interesting, pretty interesting. Yeah. So it looks like he just like kind of snuck into abandoned buildings, which maybe I shouldn't have said this. That's kind of the movie magic things of it, right? But
It's just a public park, nothing special.
Yeah, but
it's cool though. It's a unique vibe. I'm curious to see where he'll show up next.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of have this little where it's called to go now.
I like the rice paddy ones as well. Those were very thematic.
Those are my favorite. I think especially in the first one, there's this like perfect background, and there's this like little tiny car sort of like driving slowly away in the background with this very relaxing music. It's really good.
So there's a question here from Bright about are you considering it to have wireless mode? And the answer to that is emphatically a no for this keyboard. We are not taking on that particular bear for this this product. It's something that we'll probably undoubtedly look at some point in the future, but not for the ADHE. And the simple reality of it is, well, I guess there's two things. One is the power draw. Our keyboards take a lot of juice to run at the best. And it would be pretty crappy if you had a keyboard that ran out of battery in a very short amount of time while you're gaming. And if you have to have it plugged in while gaming, then what's the point of it being wireless in the first place? And then the second point is shipping batteries is a whole, as Calder says, a whole worm of cans. And so we have not delved into that and the regulations that are related to that, just from a simplicity standpoint. Yeah. So we're focusing on what we do well, and that is making really fast keyboards, and for now those are going to have a wire attached to it.
Yeah, wireless just opens up a whole new area of development, and we're just not really we just don't really have the resources for it either. It's like we're just focused on making the ADC very fast. That's the key thing.
And at some point, I'm sure that as Wooting will continue to grow and develop, that we'll make some product design decisions that do lead well towards a wireless keyboard. And whether that's making something for like a media center that doesn't need to be quite as fast, that possibly this is just kind of spitballing. But but for now, with a wire.
Yeah, there's actually not that many popular wireless keyboards. Maybe only in more like the office productivity scene, but for gaming, not necessarily. No. Yeah, wireless for mouse is great. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it's like kind of the sentiment. Yeah.
Yep. Oh. Yeah, and there are some competitors out there who do have wireless keyboard options, and I'm not here to drop names of competitors because we want you to buy from Wooting, not from those guys. But nevertheless, but those just aren't as fast as our keyboards, and that's kind of our competitive dimension. So that's our focus for now.
Yep.
So before we move on from the ADHE, there was one more question that is worth addressing, which is the zinc alloy. Will that cost be cheaper than the alumase? And the answer to that is that the manufacturing process is less expensive because we are not CNCing these from aluminum. We're going to be die casting them, and so with CNC, you have one product that you are cutting away bits and pieces, and that takes a whole lot of time, and that locks up that machine to only be working on that and nothing else during that time. With die casting, you take two molds and it's just like plastic injection where you pump hot molten metal into the die, and it'll create the product that you want, and then you can kind of set that out to cool on its own little rack away from the casting machine itself, and it is a much more efficient process, and therefore it is also much cheaper to accomplish, and there's also much less waste. Although my assumption is, and I don't know this, but I do assume this, that with the aluminum CNC, that all of those pieces that are chipped off are recycled and recaptured. I assume that to be true.
Yes. Yeah.
So the zinc alloy will be a cheaper manufacturing process for sure.
Yeah, but I'm not 100% sure how the price will end up working.
Yeah.
I assume it will, but don't really want to make false promises. Oh, take control keycaps, right. Mark. When?
I have a sample of the blue take control keycaps. the blue and navy here. I'll show them here.
Ooh.
These are quite nice. I've got my my blue lacquer cable as well because that fits better than the
Nice.
take control one.
Yeah.
Refocus. Yes. Okay. So those exist. I love them. These are not a final production. These were one of the samples, but I think the only thing that was different was one of the letters, the way that the legend was changed so that it shows up better. But I don't look at my keyboard when I type, so it doesn't matter to me. Do I have other samples of other take control keycaps? I do not. I do know that they are being manufactured, but I don't think they were done before before Lunar New Year. Well, Chinese New Year for them is manufactured in China. And so after Chinese New Year, it will get manufactured, and then it'll be thrown on a plane to our various fulfillment centers. I think even for the US, we'll put those on a plane instead of doing it by sea. And then they will be available once we have them, the product pictures of the final products, and then we'll get them on the storefront. So these are not going to be pre-order. When they're on the storefront, they're going to be in stock and ready to ship. There's no reason for these to be pre-orders or back orders. We don't expect that they will immediately sell out. We're making enough of them that would be pretty crazy and good for us, I guess. But yeah,
maybe there does seem to be a lot of like questions about it. So yeah.
Yep.
I saw an interesting question, the last one about the zinc alloy. It's like, will the zinc alloy be the same shape as the plastic? And this is also a big advantage of the zinc alloy process, is that you can make it in the same shape. Because if you CNC something, you can't just take a design that you can plastic inject like with ADHC and transfer it to the CNC machine. Like usually that's the way CNC cases end up being, let's say, more square because they need to be able to cut it from the different sides. But the zinc alloy case, I'm not sure if there's even any difference, but I'm pretty sure it's just the same design. There might be some like differences in like how the stuff is structured, like the ejection pins or flow channels, those kind of things. But design,
or maybe like the supports that can be seen in the plastic case, how those are formatted. Maybe those are a little bit different.
Yep.
But from a general design perspective, they will be identical. Yeah.
Yep. Zinc alloy. Yeah, alloy is the. Was alloy or alloy? I guess it's alloy because that sounds more American. Oh.
Contrary to what Calder says.
Yes, but then Calder opens up many worms of cans. So.
What made you consider zinc among other types of castable metal materials? Unfortunately, I am not the person to ask for that, and I don't think Jeroen is either. So
no.
I do know that we have industrial designers and material experts that looked very closely into that. And I have no doubt that they have very specific and logical reasons for why they made that choice. But unfortunately, I don't have that answer.
It's also kind of like, because this is a new process and it's also actually not that easy to find the right manufacturers for it. It's also kind of dependent on like which factories. You usually kind of start like, okay, we have an assembly factory for the keyboards, right? And it's like, okay, what kind of factories are they used to work with and what can they do? Because that's kind of like a good starting point.
What can they work with?
So it's not always
what
like
do they have experience working with.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not always like find the perfect material first and then look for it on the market. It also kind of starts like, okay, what are we already familiar with? What kind of like entry points do we already have, and can we make that work? Because like there's like factories all over, but then find the right ones, vet them, have our assembly factory check them as well, like all those kind of things. That also takes a lot of time. So it's always kind of from two ways. I'll make one from titanium, that'll be pretty sick. That
also informs what other materials or finishings or those types of things are possible, of what is our manufacturing partner capable of doing. What do they have experience in? What is priced in a reasonable way? I mean, if they wanted to do some kind of fancy finish, but then that costs $300 per unit, that's obviously not something that's feasible. So somewhere to be drawn, a balance to be drawn.
Yeah. Just a quick question. It's all about the focus mode. Is that ADHC will not have that? It will be more like the 60. Yeah.
Cool. I didn't know that. Ooh.
Moving on.
Moving right along. So that's enough about the ADHC. It's a very exciting product, but neither Jeroen nor I are experts on that. So we shared what we can. We'll answer the questions that we can. But let's talk a little bit now about the products that we are experts in, and one of those is the 60HE, and specifically the fact that we have transitioned the product from the 60HE to the 60HE Plus. And so, what exactly did we change? Well, we went from a singular PCBA that is for both ANSI and ISO, but has was that true? The original was for both layouts, right?
Correct. Yeah,
And then
yeah,
it
yeah.
did not
Just
have
different sensors soldered, basically. Yeah,
yeah,
sensors and LED soldered.
and it did not have compatibility for screw-in stabilizers.
No.
And the keyboard modding community, that's one of the favorite for them. The screw-in stabilizers, they're a little bit more premium. They attach to the PCBA directly instead of clipping into the switch plate, so they're a little bit more secure. And that's especially true if you're using like a polycarbonate switch plate versus a steel switch plate. The steel is much more rigid and can hold those clip-ins pretty easily, but then the PC plate is a little bit more soft of a material. It's going to have a little bit more flex, and so for that kind of product, you might prefer a screw-in stabilizers.
Yeah.
But that requires drilling holes into the PCBA, and that's not something that most modders can do. It also required us to move some traces around, some standoffs, and
Yeah,
some
you would just
changes.
drill the holes. That would have not been a good time. But
yeah, that would have been a challenge. And so, therefore, because it's a physical change, we wanted to make sure that we communicate that this product is slightly different for the people that for whom it is relevant, but then also make it clear that this is still the same 60HE with the same, capabilities of speed and the rest of the performance, the rest of the modding stuff, switching a case, switching keycaps, lubing your switches. All of those are still the same on that, despite the change. But because it's different for the screw-in stabilizers, our perspective was, if we fast forward to a year or 2 years from now, and somebody is wanting to sell their current 60HE and to get a new keyboard of some capacity, maybe the 80HE, maybe something else. If they're going to sell that on the secondhand market and somebody's looking to buy that, without changing the product name, the person who is trying to buy the 60HE has no way of knowing whether or not that keyboard is actually compatible with screw-in stabilizers or not. And maybe that's something that's really important to that person that's trying to buy it. And so we wanted to have a very clear and specific way of communicating that in the future when there are 60HE pluses and 60HEs floating around, that there's a very clear difference between them. So what went well with that change? Well, the back-end process of people being able to swap from their current pre-orders of the 60HE Plus to the rest of the buffer stock that was available, the 60HE, that went very smoothly. So thank you, Jeroen, for you and your team.
I mean, customer-facing side was smooth, yeah. We'll not talk about like our pre-Christmas attempt at launching the swap that failed miserably.
When we executed on that publicly facing, it went very well. What didn't go well, perhaps, was some of that communication related to what exactly is the difference, why does it matter, and that's something that can be challenging in general communication, especially when you are trying to communicate to a very wide range of an audience. And that was for me, in the way that I communicate to people through the stock and batch updates, through the batch updates on the website, the emails, the bulk emails that get sent out informing people of this. This was kind of a wake-up call for me, because to me, working with keyboards every single day, the idea of the concept of a stabilizer is just a fact in my knowledge, and it didn't even occur to me that some people who are buying our keyboards don't know what a stabilizer is. And looking at that retroactively, thinking back, well, duh. I mean, this is such a tiny little part of a keyboard. Of course, people aren't going to know about what that is. But that was something that kind of surprised me. And so I had lots of questions about, why would I make this change? Is the Plus better? Is it, what exactly is a stabilizer? And
ding dong.
And so one of the things that I need to, for my communication out publicly, is to be more cognizant of the fact that Wooting is and positions themselves as the bridge between gaming and keyboard hobbyists. That we're trying to bring those two markets together, that we have the best and the fastest keyboards available, that are also able to satisfy those keyboard hobbyists' goals and ambitions. And so sometimes we get a little bit of tunnel vision in what exactly those two worlds collide. So that was something that could have gone a little bit better. I think in general, once people had the opportunity to ask the question, whether that's on Discord or via email, we were able to, in all cases, answer those questions to those folks. But they had the question in the first place, and that sometimes makes things a little bit more challenging.
Received the package for call. I don't know what it is. Should we open it on stream?
Ooh. Yeah, go for it. What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? Okay. Oh, do I have anything? Wait, let me just double check if I have anything on my desk because I usually have a bunch of stuff. Okay, we can do it. Oh, wait, actually. Okay, it's hidden well enough. Let's see what this is.
It's hidden well enough. Some kind of a spoiler.
Okay, I'll check first, and then I can see if I can show it. Yeah? Okay. It's another box.
Hey, a box within a box.
What's in the box? I saw somebody ask why we don't include this. Why am I blanking on the name? Plate mount and screw-in stabilizers. Jesus. And the screw-in stabilizers are a lot more expensive, which is absolutely insane because they're both pieces of plastic in different shape. The only difference is that the screw-in stabilizer comes with a little like receival screw, like heat pressed into it or whatever the process is called. And it's just that not many people make the screw-in stabilizer, so they keep the cost very high, which is kind of wild. But that's why. So not because there should be a big difference in cost, but there is because not a lot of people make it. Okay.
Supply and demand, I guess.
What? What is going on?
A small little box.
Why is there... Wait, what? Oh, I cannot show this. I can definitely not show this.
Oh, shit. What a tease. Oh, that's terrible.
I thought it was something more innocent. Well, not innocent. Innocent is not the right word. Something more.
Whoa. Did you receive that?
Okay. This I can definitely not show. I feel kind of bad. I wish it was just like fun reveal time. It will be, but not today. If I show this,
that's savage, Jeroen. Absolutely savage.
If I show this, I'll be in big trouble. But
you're a co-founder. How much trouble could you possibly be in? Crap. Oh, apparently pretty big. Drops it. Nice.
Okay, let's just ignore that whole segment happened.
Right, we'll just cut that out, no problem.
Yes.
Oh man! All right. In that case, we will keep on keeping on. And the next thing on my list to talk about is the 60HE Plus. What people can expect for these batches coming in. And there's some news to share there. There's some kind of weird quirks that we'll share on stream and then not communicate anywhere else because the quirks are generally irrelevant but kind of interesting. And so we'll share that. So start with the EU side of things. We got the EUZ that is coming in. It's coming in hot. Those will be available for shipments starting next week Thursday. And so people's dates in the Wooting hub have been updated and are. Yeah, well, we're excited to get the first 60HE pluses out to folks. And then so EUZ is already out of stock for both the ANSYs and the ISOs, unfortunately. But the next batch after that, we have a batch for ANSYs and we have a batch for ISOs. Both of them are they're big boy batches, and they're coming in not all too much longer. They were already manufactured. They are on the way to the warehouse, and I believe that they are set to start shipping 2 weeks after EUZ, which will put it at the end of February, if I have my math correctly. But I do know that last night I updated the dates on the Wooting hub for those batches, so people can see their most accurate delivery estimations to their front door via the Wooting hub. And then once those do deliver, I do expect that we will be in stock on the 68G Plus as well for both ANSIs and ISOs. So we have a few in the EU left of the
Mark, how
original
many times I've
68G.
heard that?
Yeah, it's a bit of a meme, but it is happening. I promise in the next couple of months, all fulfillment centers are going to have stock because we are going ham on 68G production. The stars are aligning. We've got all the components on hand. And as soon as Chinese New Year is behind us and the factory is ready to rock and roll, they've allocated to us quite a bit of line time to get as many keyboards produced as possible. And so we are for sure, I'm saying this now, we are for sure going to get these products in stock. And maybe it's not next month, but the month after, but the numbers are unreal. So it will happen. It will happen.
Okay, I trust you.
Cool.
I like to believe. I like to believe, but I always say that keeping keyboards on stock was our 2022 goal. So
yes, yeah, and here we are in 2024.
Yes,
typical Wooting being a little bit behind, but hey, we'll get there.
I saw Strukduker has a very good point. This is also something that that we also noticed, but it was a bit too late to change it. Is that we launched the 68C Plus module first, with the idea being, okay, we already have 68C Plus, which is basically the PCB with the screw and stabilizer support, but this is the module. But a lot of people thought, and I can also understand why, that the module part is not the product, the plus part is the product. is what makes it special, let's say. But and I think that's kind of what caused a lot of confusion, because people already started referring to the module as the 68C Plus. But that was not actually intent. The intent was that 68C Plus is like the keyboards, or let's say the PCB with the screen stabilizer support, and the module is like the special module project that you can just put in any case and has like screen stabilizer and PC plate installed. And if you have the regular 68C Plus, it's like pre-installed everything. Ready to go. So that's and I do understand and agree that that caused a lot of confusion. It's just we cannot really do much against it anymore, except for over really time.
That we named, the community named that all on their own. And
I also understand why looking back, but at the time, like, we didn't really think that because I don't think we ever said like, oh, this is the 68C Plus. This is always we always called it the module internally. So that's also So that's why that happened. But I do feel like over time, like, of course, like this with the Switch, that's always a little bit like a little bit painful and confusing, let's say. But over time, you'll kind of even out.
Yeah, and here pretty soon, there won't be any of the original 68G version left for sale.
Yeah, that's right.
In fact, there's only ANSIs in the EU that are still available, and my expectation is, and whether or not it'll be to the day, but probably about 1 week left worth of sales rate of people choosing to go for that one that ships immediately.
Yeah.
And then once that's gone, then it's gone, because we're not producing any more of that version of it. So it'll all be 68G Pluses. And then there will be much less of that confusion of, well, do I get the 68G or the 68G Plus? Because
exactly.
Won't be presented anymore. You get the Plus, because that's all you get.
Yeah, and the screw and styles being included in the PC plate, like you said, that I understand that is the confusing part. We just kind of intended the module to just be a little bit more premium mechanical keyboard focused, and
hobbyist focused.
Yeah, exactly. And that the 60C pre-assembled is just kind of like your default good to go.
You want a keyboard?
You want keyboard fast, just go. Yeah, exactly. So that's And
there was a question here: is the module still in stock? Yes, the module is in stock on both storefronts. The current amount of stock should be enough to last until the next batch gets produced. I expect that to be the case. It may get a little close, but I do expect that to stay in stock for the foreseeable future, because that next batch that comes in is going to bring up that stock level back to a healthy level, and we'll be in good shape.
Yeah. I saw some people ask about any kind of 2.0, V2, any kind of switches. And of course, I can't say anything about it. So you're not gonna get any news from us, but maybe we're working on it. Who knows?
Oh man, this is such a point of contention in the Discord of people who have like half pieces of information that are presenting it
Yeah.
as this is reality, and now here you are
Uh-oh. Adding fuel to the
making
fire.
sounds. Making sounds.
No, it's tricky because like um, there's so many moving parts with the Switch design with the Switch.
Well, there's one moving part that presses down.
Hey, that's true. That's it.
Got him.
With ew. No, let's just say the V2. Let's just call it the V2. There's no DV2, but let's just say the V2 project is so like all over the place, back and forth, and it really started because Gateron. Here we go again. They fucking dropped a bunch of switches without telling us about it. So that's where the confusion started, and we were like, "What is going on?"
Well, it started more than a year before that when they
Yep.
switched up some things on our switches without telling us.
Okay, well that's where it started.
That led to problems.
Yeah.
And then we addressed that and made our opinions on that fact of them having done that very clear and known. And then 8 months later, they did it again, and that that really was not great. And then they launched a whole bunch of new switches without giving us any kind of heads up. And you know that's their prerogative. They could do that if they want, but it certainly made us feel a particular way. So
but that's also why like there's confusion and sort of like mixed messaging from us, because there's just been so much development there, and also kind of like
drama.
Drama came out of nowhere. Us also kind of like trying to think about strategies quickly. And I think now, like as in right now, like at this very moment, like I'm not saying like for months or something. No, I'm saying like this week or last week, this week, we are pretty certain like that this is the way to go. I'm not saying like we have the Switch like manufactured and ready right now. I'm just saying like for us, like I think the path is now clear, but the next part
also
is like
means that we are able to now start to look at how we want to communicate that externally.
Yes, exactly.
In a very specific and clear way as best as we can.
Yeah, because it's also like very important that that fits within product launch. From what batches will they be available, and in what shape will they be available? Blah 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 blah. We do need to kind of figure that out. So I think the only thing we can say definitely is like there is something that people now refer to as the V2 because of just a bunch of basically drama and us trying to figure out a lot of things. That has been pretty chaotic. That's also why the messaging is so like all over the place. But we are now at a point where we can start communicating about it very soon. Now when, I don't know yet, but then I think within the next few weeks, especially because like there's so many like stories circulating about it already. But that's I think that's it for that part. That's all I say about it.
Indeed, more info to come, and I hope you all trust us to make the best product that we can, and that includes our switches, and then to bring that out in the most effective way possible. One of the details to be known is that when we assemble keyboards, the factory that does the assembling is not the same factory that creates the switches, and so for them to be assembling keyboards, and a whole lot of keyboards, because we are making a whole lot of keyboards, they need to have those switches on hand and in stock. So we're talking multiple hundred thousands worth of switches. And so when they have to, if any change is made to what the pre-built keyboard comes with, then that needs to get worked through the system of this is the switches that they already had on hand, put those in keyboards, and then at some point make a switch to a new version, to a new switch. And if that is the choice that will be made, and I'm not saying that it is, then that takes a little bit of time to work through the process. So a little bit of patience so that we can work out what exactly those details are from an operational standpoint, and then get that communicated out to folks the way that is most effective.
Yeah, and also like generally the strategy is also to, like we've always wanted to just have more switches available, like not just like our switch our switch is the only one in our store like that, because also like the Jade switches will also just consider stocking if we can. We're also working on like firmware, like better firmware support for different switches as well, because like they can vary a little bit in like magnet strength and also magnet positioning, which also impacts the
and the polarity of the magnet. If the magnet is, call it backwards, then that is going to affect how the Hall sensor measures that signal. And so I think that polarity issue with the what is it, the something -37, those switches have the magnet the other way around. I think that has been addressed from a firmware standpoint. That and maybe that's not live yet, but that is a solution was identified by Simon.
If the magnet is the other way around, we really can't do much. But it's more like if the magnet is like a little bit stronger or weaker, we can still do. But then you also have like the Raptor switch, like the Geon Raptor switch. That magnet is just so much stronger that it will just saturate very early. So that's also something we can't really do much about, because it's just outside of the range we can sense. So that's also there are just some things there. But then some people just take that switch and then put the Lecker stem in, and it works, and that's a pretty cool mod to do. But, oh, chat died again. Yeah, I can't really do much about that. That's a bit of a bug with the chat. I can kind of like try to show and hide it again, but.
Okay, we'll wrap up the operational updates because I talked about the EU side of 60HE pluses when those are coming around. We'll talk about the US side, and that we've got NAC coming in at
4.
Okay, we'll keep it quick then.
Yeah.
So we got NAC coming in quick, but actually there was a bit of a Chinese New Year quirk with these batches. The freight shipment for NAC got rolled twice. And so that did not get on the boat in any manner of timely manner at all. However, the next batch that was getting
got rolled
after, they basically just said, "Oh, sorry, you don't fit on the boat. Maybe next time." And they did that twice. And that's something that is pretty typical around this time of year, because much less business activity happens around the Chinese New Year period. But between that and all the shenanigans in the Red Sea and freight just going a little bit crazy for a minute, we got rolled. And so NAC is going to come in much later than originally anticipated. However, the next batch of keyboards has already been produced as well, or is about to finish production once Chinese New Year is done, and we will be air freighting that to fulfill the orders for NAC with the second batch. This is NA Apple is what it's called. But the batches are the same size, so we're just doing a swapperoo, and we're not going to be renaming people's batches on the Wooting hub or what they're allocated to or anything like that.
No, it's just straight.
It's going to cause more confusion. We're just going to be taking the one, fulfilling those orders, the first ones that come in with the first keyboards that come in, and then once that sea freight shipment does eventually show up, the next batch will get fulfilled with those. So those dates have already been updated on the Wooting hub to reflect this switcheroo, and in fact, because of the amount of extra buffer we put in for these freight shipments on account of the Chinese New Year expected shenanigans, the dates for both of those batches were pulled forward to reflect the more updated expected delivery dates. So that is operations.
All right.
I do want to have one quick note on customer service.
Yep.
Because that is also under my domain, and so I'll comment on it. One of the things that I do want to mention is that half of our team is out for Lunar New Year. They're celebrating, they're on vacation, they're enjoying some well-deserved time off. That does leave us a little bit short-handed, and so we are focusing our time on the most time-critical requests, and chief among those is payment verifications. This is something that's kind of reared its ugly head because we have been under attack by fraudsters over the last few months, and I do mean under attack. It's been quite a situation that we found ourselves in, and the reality is that our payment processors don't really care if we are being defrauded or if we are not doing the things that are expected of us by a business from regular customers. All they see is, did this charge get disputed, yes or no? And if too many of those are yes, then we get put on a naughty list, and that can have an existential impact on
you don't want to be on a naughty list
as a whole. So naughty lists are bad, and so we have really very significantly cracked down on the number of, or how we capture payments. So for a great many people at this point in time, when you place an order, your payment is authorized but not captured. And so what exactly does that mean? That means that one of our team has to specifically go in and see, are the characteristics of this order trustworthy? Is there something that maybe is a concern to us? Are they shipping to an address that has lots of fraudulent orders? Are there any chargeback on the history? Are there, all these different things that combine to have a lot of manual work related to that. And so unfortunately, our customer service team is a little bit swamped with these. And we are attacking this from many different angles at the same time. We're bringing in internally people to help support our customer service team to help us get through these on a manual work perspective. We're working with our storefront, Shopify, to see what possible solutions we can have to address this on a systemic level. We're looking to how we can operationally make sure that we're smarter about this. So we're attacking it a lot of different ways. But the reality is that at the moment, lots of orders are getting flagged for extra verification.
Yep.
We appreciate your patience as we go through this process. We are doing our absolute best to get these processed and confirmed and released as quickly as possible. Yep. But it's going to take a few days. It may take up to a week. And if that is the case, apologize for that. But unfortunately, we have to keep our business safe and secure. And fighting against fraud is definitely very high up there on how we have to defend ourselves.
Yeah, it's kind of insane, like how, somehow the message spread somehow somewhere that, hey, these guys are
a target.
These are a potential target, and it just went crazy. Like it's
and it makes sense from the standpoint that our keyboards are very much so in high demand by the fact that we can't even keep them in stock ourselves. So if a fraudster is able to get an order through and get it shipped and fulfilled, then they are very likely to be able to then offload that product in a gray market or a black market or even honestly on
just eBay.
Whatever, there's no protections there. So we've seen a huge increase in that kind of activity, and we've got to fight against it. So appreciate your patience. It is not fun for customers. That is not fun for our staff. I promise you that. About half of our team, or all of our team, is spending half of their time every single day doing nothing but payment verifications, and it's not fun. Let me tell you, it's pain.
Good.
So
Hopefully
hopefully
we'll
address this systemically.
Yeah.
We have made some very significant moves to get off of that list on the US side of things, so that has been successful, and we've relaxed isn't the right word, but we've been less vicious about requiring payment verifications on the US side of things.
More
efficient, but don't hear that, fraudsters, and think that now that we're a target again, because we will go after you in every way that we can. But then on the EU storefront, it's a little bit more challenging, so we're having to be very careful there.
All right. Then last chance.
I think that about wraps up the stream.
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, we went through all the topics, right? You mentioned. So last chance for any questions that people have. Maybe some questions. There might be some questions I cannot answer, but we'll talk about that another time.
Question from Leconto of the knob switch. That is one that we're not going to answer on this stream at the moment, but stay tuned for perhaps something coming your way in the future.
Like a V2? No, I'm joking.
Adding fuel to the fire, Jeroen. Opening things on stream that people can't even look at. Oh my god.
Any news about the new cable colors? Working on it. We're trying to get the color right on some particular ones, and it's pretty tricky. We're trying to make I mean, we're also doing pink and white there. We're trying at least.
Yes.
But it's a
new
little bit hard.
Came in today of those.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what Jasmine's conclusion is there. I haven't checked, but then what I do know is that with the cable, it's a bit tricky because you have both the connector and the cable coil being different materials, and you kind of want those to match in a nice way, and that's where it's a little bit stuck. But I think we're getting pretty close to be able to release something there.
For the cables, and I don't know what exactly the conclusion was, but that the cable itself, that product is good, but now there were changes to the packaging made that we're not super fans of. And then there was a question on
Oh, yeah.
the
I
a
saw
little
that. Yeah.
Velcro bit that you can tie the cable up with. The printing on that didn't go as we had expected,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
so we're gonna have to go back on that one a little bit.
Switch
There was another
springs
question
also
on
coming soon, I think.
Yep.
That's all. Those guys are
Yes.
also pretty close.
Yep.
What is
I
this
don't
music?
recall if they were manufactured before Chinese New Year or not, but if not, then they will in the next couple of weeks, and then they'll fly on over to our fulfillment centers and be ready to go.
Yep.
Same with the Take Control keycaps, the new colors of those. They are on the way in the sense that they are going to get manufactured, and they will be on our storefront as soon as possible. Probably at least a month, maybe 2 months out. And we'll see exactly what that looks like.
Yeah. And about the stabilized compatibility, I saw you mentioned that before. We are not the right people to answer the question. Like, that's a bit too product design for us. Like, I feel hesitant to answer that one because that goes is not really our part. But I have forwarded in our Slack to the people. Yeah, this is a real banger. But I have forwarded in Slack. I do hope we can follow up on this one.
There was also a question here about Klarna Pay. That is available only in certain countries. I know for a fact that Germany is one of those, and there's about 5 countries or so that it is available for, and then there's a series of countries for which it is not available for, but the system doesn't quite understand that very well. So if you have issues with Klarna Pay, then I would recommend trying a different payment method. Otherwise, you can reach out to our support team at social@wooting.io to see if they perhaps can give you some guidance.
Okay.
All right.
Will there be cat files?
I think that about wraps it up.
Okay, one more. Will there be cat files for the ADC case? Probably, yeah. We do that in general for the plastic cases. We didn't do it for the Alamaze because that's a bit too easy to copy because there's a lot of people with CNC. I mean, when I say people with CNC machines, I mean small factories with CNC machines that like to copy things, like the Looting or whatever. But for
putting the L in Wooting.
For the ADC case design, that's a bit less of a risk because it's injected, so it's not that easy to just copy on a small scale. So we'll probably will.
The molds are
a little bit after release. If you're looking for it, feel free to just ask again after the keyboard is delivered somewhere, because that's when we generally do it. Right.
All right. Thank you all for your questions, for your participation. Definitely make sure to vote in the polls on Discord and on X Twitter, and we look forward to